Hi everybody, thanks for watching this video about staying motivated with your online classes. My name is Lara Olson. I'm the academic coach at the Tutoring-Learning Center at UWSP. And I work with students on their study skills, anything study skills related, time management, test taking, stress management. There are all kinds of different things that I work with students. But right now, we are in this very unique situation that all instruction is moved online. Online classes are not new, so we have all the technology that we need to have success teaching online classes or taking online classes. But it still poses quite a few challenges. And I have helped students with these challenges. And today I will present 4 big tips to you and that we'll talk about. But first, I just want to share with you what my situation here is like to show you that I can relate what everybody's going through. So this is my home office right now with my kitty sleeping back there. So yeah, it's a new situation, but I'm here to help you with that. So let's start the presentation. I want to share this. Okay, perfect. And I have my phone here. If I look at it every once in a while, it's not because I'm reading my Facebook messages, I promise. I just want to read my notes. And so I've learned how to be more tech savvy. I didn't have to print. I don't have a printer here, so I couldn't print out my notes, but I don't have to. I can have them right on my phone. So if you ever have to do a presentation via Zoom, super easy. You just download the PowerPoint app and boom, there's your PowerPoint presentation with your notes. It's just so slick. I'm pretty excited about this, in case you couldn't tell. All right, I want you to take a few moments to think about a situation or multiple situations where you were really motivated about something, and then think about a situation where you were not motivated about a project or task. And then after you think about the situation, take a few moments to analyze why were you motivated or why were you not motivated. So take a few moments, stop the video, and when you're ready, join back in. Hey, welcome. Let's look at a few reasons why we lack motivation. We often lack motivation. So a big one is lack of confidence. Certainly something that I can relate to, that I have felt. If I think, well, maybe I can't do it, I'm less likely to start the task. And then it spirals though, and the deadline is coming closer and closer. Instead of asking somebody, I'll just procrastinate. It's a very common one. Self-protection, need for food, sleep, exercise. So I always tell my students, if you don't take care of yourself, there's really a limit in what you can do. And we can talk about all these study skills, but you need to take care of your basic needs, like sleeping enough, finding good nutrition, not just eating fast food the whole time, finding time to exercise, to meditate, or whatever you need to feel good. Lack of focus. If you don't have a direction, you just kind of have all these different tasks and you have no direction, which is my last point, then it'll be really hard to find motivation because it's just overwhelming. One thing, I don't know my major, or maybe I'm not confident with my major, that's a big one, that you should definitely do more soul searching, talking with your advisors. You are here at the university to explore at this point. It is okay if you don't know your major. It's a little bit easier if you know your major and you know the goal that you're working towards. That's really important. And at some point you should come to this realization. But if you're not there yet, then maybe you're undecided, and that's okay, but then see this as an opportunity to explore. This is basically should be your driver to be motivated. Tasks might seem too big, so that's a big one. So I always recommend breaking up a task instead of I have to write this big research project or do this big research project. Slicing it up into manageable pieces. Like today I will research 3 articles, for example, and then it might not seem so daunting. All right, so this is just a little bit of an intro, but now we are getting into my tips of why students struggle stay motivated during online courses, and I have some solutions and some tips because it doesn't have to be so hard. So here are my 4 tips. The first one is finding ways to overcome procrastination. Procrastination is a big issue, not only for online classes, but students have reported to me repeatedly that especially during online classes, it's very, very easy to procrastinate. Makes sense, right? You don't have a teacher who checks in with you face to face. Second tip will be setting clear goals. Third tip is finding motivation. All of this will help you finding motivation, but we'll look at motivation a little bit deeper. And then fourth one is be a good communicator. All right, let's talk about the first one, overcoming procrastination. So there is some really fascinating research about procrastination, because usually often when we talk about procrastination, we'll then talk about time management, right? So you just have to be able to manage your time, and that is true. I always work on time management with my students, but sometimes or even often it doesn't get to the root of things because, and this is what research found out, the main problem is not time management, but the inability to manage negative emotions. The inability to manage negative emotions. I think that's a big one to wrap your head around in it, but it totally makes sense that it is not really about time management, but about something that's deeper. Let's look at some of these emotions. Boredom, anxiety, frustration, self-doubt, resentment, low self-esteem, or the task is so unpleasant that it creates a negative emotion in itself. So think about it. Let's say you're just absolutely bored with a task. Maybe it's not super hard, but you are bored with it. Our natural instinct is to overcome this feeling of boredom, not by doing the boring task, because the task is always boring, so, why do it? Instead, we organize our space cabinet, because that is so important. It's a really, really important thing to do right now. You see what I'm saying? It might have happened to you. Let's look at one more thing. Let's look at anxiety. All right. Because oftentimes if people procrastinate, they might be looked at as lazy, but that's just often not the case. There are deeper issues. And with anxiety, maybe it's a really hard task. Maybe there's test anxiety, and that's why you're not studying. And that's why it's just so much more fun to watch an episode of Parks and Rec, because this relieves your anxiety. But unfortunately, just momentarily, because the project that is giving you the anxiety, that is still there. A few more things that I researched. So procrastination means we prioritize short-term needs over long-term needs. That's exactly what I was talking about. Like if I'm so bored with this, I don't know, math problem, I would probably not be bored with it. I'd have anxiety. Okay, let's say anxiety. I'm so anxious over this math task. I will take care of these short-term needs, which is my anxiety, and I will watch Parks and Rec. And I will disregard the long-term needs. And that second part is super interesting. We perceive our future self as strangers. That's me that has to hand in that paper next week. That's not really me. I mean, of course it's me, but that's what our brain tricks us a little bit. And stressful situations, tasks, so for example, tasks that we want to avoid, are perceived by our brains as a threat. So that is something that happens in our amygdala, I think. Dr. Hirschfield, a professor of marketing at the UCLA Anderson School of Management, found that out, that these stressful situations are perceived by our brains as a threat. So, you know, in former times when we had to escape from a lion chasing us, that's a good thing that our brain says, threat, threat, threat. We should do anything to avoid this threat. But the threat now is the paper that we have to submit. And running away from it is most likely not going to help us. Okay, now what can we do about this? Simply telling ourselves, or simply me telling you to stop procrastinating, will just not do this. We will have to retrain our brains to be able to handle negative emotions. And one big thing is self-compassion. In a 2012 study, Dr. Sharot, I hope I pronounced that right, examined the relationship between stress, self-compassion, and procrastination. He found out that procrastinators tend to have high stress and low self-compassion. And this, so finding self-compassion, for example, let's say you procrastinate one day. All right, you're human. Your brain tricked you, right? To avoid this task. Think, oh yeah, this is a stranger, that is not me. Being aware of this and being like, okay, all right, wasn't perfect. I don't have to be perfect. I'm really just a human being. Today I'm going to tackle this. As simple as that can really help, just to be kind to yourself. Not doing negative self-talk, like, yeah, I've always been bad at that. I'm just not good at that. This negative self-talk will not help. So be good to yourself, be kind to yourself. Okay, I have to go to my next slide. Visualizing how you will feel when you complete a task successfully. So think about that research paper that you have it in, and you're proud of it, and it's good. How do you feel? And I think it, I don't know, feels really good. It's a sense of accomplishment. Visualizing that. Maybe even visualizing what your teacher will say, visualizing what a friend of yours will say, or a group member, you know, you're going to give each other a high five, and yeah, going to get some ice cream to celebrate. So that can be a really powerful tool. Practicing mindfulness. So by the way, you should check out the mindful moments that I'm doing. So those are just some little exercises that I do with you, meditation, stress management, a little bit of yoga here and there. Just simple, like 10, 15 minutes. There are some videos posted, so check those out. Those are really great tools, and they will help you too. So paying attention to how you feel. How do you feel when you procrastinate, right? You know in the back of your head, okay, I have Canvas there, and there are some assignments posted, but I'm just not gonna log in. How does it make you feel? I can already feel that my stomach is a little bit cramping, my breath gets a little shorter, I'm getting stressed. So how do you feel when you do not procrastinate, when you actually tackle it? Like physical feelings, or, you know, what's going on in your mind. So really paying attention. And this is a funny one, I think, but it is just so true, but it can be hard. So working to start on a task really helps. So I think what we have to keep in mind with this, and what I always mention, is just nobody's perfect, all right? Doesn't have to be perfect. Just start, all right? You can edit later, because it's so much easier to edit than to write. Well, editing is an art in itself when it comes to writing, but still, it will feel so much better when you start. So just do it. Just start it. And just a little bit. Just break it up and do one thing at a time. Don't think about the next thing. Oops. See, I'm still working with my technology here. It's not perfect yet. Oh, well, I'll get there. Oh, maybe not. Okay, this one I like, and I talked about that in my Reducing Your Screen Time workshop, which is pretty ironic in these times. But there are some tips that you can reduce your screen time, and meaning it's your unproductive screen time. So building obstacles towards your temptations. Let's say one of the number one time wasters is our screens, right? Are those smartphones, and they are so great. They are just really awesome tools, and I wouldn't want to miss my smartphone in the world to talk to my friends and family in Germany or to my friends here. But you know, going on Instagram or on Facebook and scrolling and all of these things, they can really distract me. And sometimes you just really need to protect your study time. So there are apps like Freedom or Cold Turkey. I'll post links. One tip, create some complicated passwords. So delete apps and just, you know, you'd have to go to your web browser and type in the password manually and making your password super hard. So it's a really big pain to do that. Deleting apps I already mentioned. All of these things might help. Okay, let's move on to tip number 2, setting clear goals. So there are variation of goals: personal goals, financial goals, social goals, career goals. Probably when it comes to school, it oftentimes has to do with career goals, but the other ones are important too. And of course, we have intermediate goals, like 1 to 30 days, like completing a project or writing a paper. Short-term goals, like getting a certain GPA for a semester, or long-term goals, 2 to 5 years, maybe graduating. When we talk about goals, we always have to talk about SMART goals. SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound. Right, let's talk about, I'll give you an example. So one goal that would not be SMART would be, I want to do better in school. Okay, great. We all do, right? We all want to do better. But let's say you have a GPA of 1.8. All right, and you want to get out of that. So you want to set a goal that is specific. Let's say I want to reach, I will reach, or will have a GPA of 2.3 or 2.5 next semester. It is specific. It is measurable. You can actually see it, that you have this GPA. It's important that it is attainable. Now, if you have a GPA of 1.8, is it realistic to have a 4.0? I don't know. There might have been a reason why there was this 1.8. There are personal reasons. I have to really analyze those reasons, but it's maybe not realistic. Maybe the goal should just be in good academic standing, you know, right? And time bound. I said by the end of this semester, I want to reach this goal. So I will have a GPA of 2.5 by the end of this semester, would be a SMART goal. So getting yourself, manifesting your goals, writing them down, sharing them with somebody else, with somebody that can hold you accountable, maybe a mentor that you have. One tip is post this goal or several goals on the inside of your binder, so you always look at it. Keep reminding yourself of them. Remind yourself why you are at school. You have a goal, all right? Keep that goal in mind. That is sometimes hard to lose on the day-to-day thing, but always keep it in mind why you're doing that. There is a purpose. The purpose is really the key. Okay, and let's talk about motivation, because I did a little bit of research and found some really great insights that I would like to share with you. Tali Sharot is a professor of cognitive neuroscience in the Department of Experimental Psychology at University College London. There's a really cool TED Talk. I'll post a link. Watch it. It's really interesting. So she found out in her research that there are 3 ingredients to reaching goals, following through, and finding motivation. Again, take a moment, stop the video, and make some predictions. And then when you're ready, start the video again, of course. Okay, welcome back. Let's look at some of the things that she researched before we find out what those 3 ingredients are. This one I thought was just so interesting. What you can see here is a chart of the stock market, 2008, when the big crash was. And you can see those are the logins. All right, how many times people who had stocks or wanted to log into their accounts. Oh no, the gray is the login, and this stock market is the black. Okay, so how often did people log in to check, their to do their transactions and whatnot? When the market was doing better, people would be logging in. They were logging in. When the market was not doing so well, people didn't log in. I think this is just so fantastic because it shows what good avoiders we are. And we know things are bad, and yet, let's just not do anything about it. So a nice picture that Tali is using in her TED Talk, and I added this little screenshot, is now we are procrastinating. Later, when shit hits the fan, we miss the deadline. We smoke and drink. Later, we get health problems. We know it's bad, but we know we have climate change, and later there will be natural disasters. Bad mortgages leads to a market crash. Political instability might lead to civilian death. There are cracks in relationship. Maybe we could do something about that now, but we'll wait till shit hits the fan, and then we have a divorce. So the thing is, if something is scary, we shut down, right? I mean, cracks in a relationship, for example, they are scary to really tackle those. So again, very human thing. So, but Tali has 3 ingredients, and they're really practical. One is being social. Second one is work with rewards. Third one is progress monitoring, focusing on progress, not on decline. So being social is finding your support system, finding those classmates, finding study groups, using the TLC. And you can do all of this online. So if you go on our website, Tutoring-Learning Center, you have information how you can get all the one-on-one tutoring, all the group tutoring, all online. So this might be even more important than ever now that it's online, to be social, to finding ways to be social. And we have all the tools that we need right at our fingertips. So we just have to be smart and be using them in a smart way. Rewards. I can actually already go to this slide. Let me just add, for example, that 35% of students who go to the TLC have a GPA of 3.5 or higher. So, students who come to the TLC, pretty smart, and even, so it's just a good thing to be social. Rewards. So oftentimes, or not oftentimes, always mention rewards to my students. Rewards are really important. to say, okay, if I stuck to my study schedule, for example, for a whole week, I'm going to go to Bells and I'm going to get my ice cream. And I'm going to celebrate that. All right, just doing something special. If you don't want to spend money with a reward, it could just be, I'm going to hang out with my friends and we're going to watch that movie. I'm not saying that you should not, hang out with friends and watch movies. But when you use it as a reward and you share this with your friends, like, hey, I hit this deadline, I worked hard on this and I stuck to my schedule and now I'm celebrating this, I think that would support you. Progress monitoring. So it's very important to, make checklists, make to-do lists, check them off, focus on your progress. Don't think, oh, my paper isn't done yet. Have your checklist and say, oh, I got the outline done. I researched the articles. I went to the circulation desk in the library to research even more. I wrote the first third quarter of the chapter. So focusing on this progress is really, really key to stay motivated. Okay, and I come to tip number 4, be a master communicator. Oops, I need my next slide here. So, and this now, I really love this picture because you have these two dudes with their computer screens and they talk the old-fashioned way, which of course we don't have, but it can be really, really challenging to communicate well with your classmates or with your professor when you take an online class, because it just is so unreal. And yet, always remember, there are real people behind these screens, just like me. I'm real. This is my room in my house with my cat sleeping there, and your professors are the same, and your classmates. So this is all a shared human experience, and use the tools that you have to communicate. So I have a few tips. I don't know if you see this, but I see this, and I'm going to move it over here. So here are some actions. Reach out to your professor and ask about the transition into an online format. Reach out early. Professors love when students have questions. What they don't love is if they don't hear from students, and then the students don't do well. And we as professors ask, what's going on? And if you struggle, please share that struggle. You can always come to me too. I'd love to help you. We as teachers, we love to help. So ask about anything, all right? Find an accountability partner. So this accountability partner is usually a classmate who takes the same class. You're in this together, and it's just so fun to work at a goal together. It's not fun if your accountability partner is somebody who slacks off. You should find somebody who's as driven as you are to get a good grade, because it's just really motivating. And this accountability partner is somebody you can celebrate with, that you can reward yourself with. And that makes it really fun. So set your goals together, check weekly, check in with each other weekly. It's very important to check your Canvas. Okay, that's the next point, but help each other out, right? It's like, oh, when is this appointment due? Da, 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 da. Don't just, the worst thing you can do is just forget about your class. And your partner, your accountability partner can really, really help. And that's more important in an online class than ever. Check Canvas religiously, all right? Announcements are a tool that I use as a professor. Every professor is a little bit different, so you'll have to learn what they do, but you can just always ask them. But if there's a change in the deadline or something, I will always post an announcement. If I posted a new assignment or something, I will usually make an announcement. But yeah, check your assignments, check your grades, know where you are when something is missing. Don't put it off, all right? Be compassionate with yourself. Say, all right, okay, that's not done, but I'm gonna tackle this now. Yeah. Emails, I forgot to put on there. checking your emails religiously. That's very important communication. Maybe there are discussion boards. That's something that I set up in my Canvas for my class. Maybe you could ask your professor if they haven't done it yet. Like a discussion board that's just open and everybody can just post questions. And it's kind of cool because you can see other people's questions as opposed to writing an email when it's only you writing a question. So these discussion boards, they can be really, really helpful. Be creative forming study groups. Use Zoom, for example, for group sessions. There are plenty of videos. So if you, I'll post a link here too about how to use Zoom. You can do group sessions. And I mean, you can use FaceTime if you have a study buddy. Just be creative. It's the same. It's really, you can see each other's faces, you can hear each other's voices, you can share screens. So there are, we have all this technology. You just have to be creative and just be curious to trying new things. Use the Tutoring-Learning Center. I just chose a little icon here with a headset because, yeah, we're gonna be working online with you, but we are here for you, and we have one-on-one and group tutoring and pretty much anything, and it's all free. So please connect with us. If you don't know how to, you can always shoot me an email. But we are very friendly people and we love to help students. Okay, of course you can't ask me any questions now because this is a video, but please reach out to me, email me. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear how it is going with going online. And I'll be hosting some synchronous workshops, so just go on my workshop page and there you'll find more instructions how that works. And that's really cool because it'll actually be a session where you click on a link and I can see your faces and we can chat with each other. You can post questions, so that's pretty neat. It'll be a different format than this workshop here. All right, on that note, I hope you found some tips how to stay motivated in your online classes, and I hope to see you in my next workshop. Have a good day. Bye.